Good morning, everyone. My name is Prasad Nagaraj. I'm working as VP Engineering at ScaleGrid. I want to thank the MyDB Ops team for inviting me and giving me this opportunity to make this presentation. Um, I'm going to talk about some of the common scenarios that we have come across at ScaleGrid involving MySQL live migration. So I'll start the presentation with a brief intro about ScaleGrid. So at ScaleGrid, we specialize in database as a service solutions. We support most of the popular open source databases such as MongoDB, MySQL, PostgreSQL, Redis, and Greenplum. We are also a multi-cloud vendor in the sense we have our DBaaS solution offerings on most of the popular public cloud platforms like AWS, Azure, GCP, DigitalOcean, and recently we have added support for Oracle Cloud Infrastructure as well. So what differentiates ScaleGrid from other DBaaS vendors? So basically, we are a single pane of glass management solution for managing your databases. A number of databases mentioned here, as well as a number of public cloud platforms. So you can manage from a single console, which is very easy and convenient. So we are also DBA friendly. All our databases are fully managed, automating all the routine and time consuming tasks of the DBAs so that you can have your time back to do more value added tasks. You will also get SSH access to the virtual machine hosting the database servers and also the root access to the databases. So basically, we are giving you your space in case you want to have any customized managements for the DBs that you are managing. We are also a developer-friendly solution. We have a bunch of developer tools which provide, we have a slow query analysis tool, for example, which will give analysis of how your application queries are performing on the databases. We have provision to create dev test clusters to simulate your production environment and do experimentation on that. We have tools for online schema changes without any database downtime and so on. So with that introduction, I will start the presentation for today, which is MySQL live migration. Let me start with some of the common use cases where you would need MySQL live migration. So some of the common use cases are if you are migrating from your on-premise or local database server to cloud hosting. Typically, you would do this. So we have come across scenarios where people would like to change their managed service providers or migrate from one cloud to another cloud without any downtime. So we use MySQL live migration. So some of the other common scenarios are if you are migrating to new hardware, or even if you are upgrading to newer versions of MySQL, it is possible to do this upgrade using the logical migration. So how do we define MySQL live migration, right? So at a high level, so it can be defined as a three-step process. So the first step here is to do a baseline dump or snapshot of your source server and restore that data on the destination. So this itself is one form of migration, but it is not really live migration because what you are doing is just taking a point in time image of your source database and restoring it on the destination. So it ends there. So this is like a one-time point in time migration. So in order to do the live migration, you have the subsequent steps, which is that you need to set up a live replication between the nodes, between the source and destination, so that there is continuous data movement, which is basically all the changes that are happening on your source databases are replicated in real time to your destination databases, so that your destination database is up to date. So the third step is called switchover. This is basically when you stop writes on your source database and redirect your applications to start working with the new database that you have created, which is the destination database. So at high level, these are the three steps involved in MySQL live migration. So let us now get into a little bit more details about what each step involves, or at least how we are addressing each of these steps at ScaleGrid. So for step one, which is about taking the baseline dump on the source and restoring it on the destination, we use a popular MySQL utility called MySQL dump. So this can take a dump image of the source database, and then you can replay all the statements that are generated in the dump file onto your destination, so that a point in time data is moved to the destination. So then we move the user accounts and privileges as well. So basically, MySQL dump does not natively support exporting users and privileges. So we will have to run some scripts and commands on the source database, such as show create user to understand how the user should be created on the destination, and also show grants command for each user to understand what privileges each user has. And when you replay the output of these commands on the destination, so those users with those grants get created on the destination as well. So we have other popular utilities, for example, MySQL pump, which allows migration of the user and privileges also. So the other utilities are there that you can consider. Even for taking the baseline dump, Percona extra backup is also one good utility, which can take a backup snapshot on the source, which can be restored on a different database server. So as a third step, we move the actual data and the stored objects. So the data is basically your database and the table data. And stored objects are artifacts such as events, triggers, routines. These are called stored objects in MySQL. So MySQL dump utility has options which you can specify while running the command, which is going to migrate these stored objects as well. So the last step here is very important for the next step, which is the live replication. So as part of the dump, you need to save what we call as coordinates of the dump. So coordinates of the dump are nothing but the binary log file name and the log position corresponding to the dump you are taking on your source database. So, and again, MySQL dump utility has this option called master data. So if you specify this option, it is going to dump the coordinates of the source server corresponding to the dump you are taking. So moving on to step 2, which is live replication. So we have taken the snapshot coordinates. We have got the snapshot coordinates through MySQL dump and restore in the first step. Now we have to use these coordinates, binary log file name and position, to set up the replication between source and destination. So by setting up this replication, your destination can start getting all the data changes that have happened on the source after the dump is taken. So all the data that is happening on the on the source will start moving to the destination. So we need to continuously monitor the replication status on the destination. So this can be done using the show slave status command on the destination, and watch for some of the parameters like seconds behind master, SQL thread status, IO thread status, and so on. So you need to ensure that the replication is going well and healthy. So finally, you will have to wait till the replication lag stabilizes to say less than 5 seconds or less. So what this means is basically your destination is going almost hand in hand with the changes that are happening on the source, and pretty much in sync with the source data. So third and final step here is called switchover. So this is the step where you have to momentarily stop writes on your source database and wait for the data to completely sync with the destination. So this should not take much time if you have executed step 2 well, where we have ensured that destination is almost going hand in hand with the source. So once the destination is in sync, you need to break the replication. You can break the replication from source to destination. We don't need it anymore because writes are stopped on the source and destination is fully in sync. Now it is time to point your applications to the destination database so that they start working with the destination database. So this marks the completion of the switchover step, and then this means you have completely migrated your data from source to destination without any downtime. So I'll stop here for a while to see if there are any questions.
Yes, Prasad, we have a question from a newbie. His name is Mahesh. So his question is, I'm new to MySQL. Any prerequisites to check before migration from MySQL 6 to 7, and same way for MySQL 7 to 8?
Yes, this is one of the use cases that I spoke about in the beginning, that you can use this approach for doing MySQL upgrade actually as part of the live migration. So MySQL supports logical upgrade for one version above. That means you can upgrade from MySQL 6 to 7 and MySQL 7 to 8. So there are a bunch of prerequisites that you will need to ensure so that this upgrade works in a smooth fashion. And there are also MySQL upgrade utilities that you can run specifically in MySQL 8. There are MySQL shell utilities that you can run beforehand to ensure your source database, which is running probably on MySQL 5.7, is compatible with MySQL 8. And if it flags any incompatibilities, you will have to address them first. So similarly, after upgrading from MySQL 5.6 to 5.7 or MySQL 5.7 to 8, so you will have to run some utilities. Specifically in MySQL 5.7, there is a utility called MySQL upgrade that you will have to run. So which is going to examine all your schemas and automatically upgrade them so that they can start working with the new versions. So I don't have the exact list of prerequisites at this point, but these are readily available in the MySQL website.
So does the answer suffice to your question, Mahesh? And yes, we will share the link for the utility post the session. Okay, there is a question from Shubham Srivastava. Instead of using MySQL dump for a migration, if use other options such as physical backup utility like extra backup or Maria backup for migration, then what precautions we need to keep in mind for migration?
Right. So as I mentioned, so there are couple of other utilities that can be used instead of MySQL dump. So Percona backup is also one of them. So we haven't used it at ScaleGrid, but one of the limitations I understand is Percona extra backup. You need similar versions of MySQL running both on your source and destination. So I doubt this utility can be used if you are also planning a MySQL version upgrade as part of the migration.
And there's another question from Amit Vadekar. MySQL dump for larger DB size is advisable or not?
Yes, so MySQL dump is a logical migration tool. It is going to dump all of your large database at the source, and it is going to replay all the statements to recreate the destination database. So it is not really ideal if your database is really huge, but probably it is the only option in some of the cases where you can't use other utilities like extra backup, or you have limitations from the cloud providers that you can't migrate the snapshots, cloud snapshots that you have taken from one cloud to another, and so on.
Thank you, Prasad. Let's continue with the session, and possibly when we have a next pause, we will continue with the remaining questions.
Sure. So the next part of my presentation, I'm going to talk about some of the common scenarios that we have come across at ScaleGrid involving MySQL Live migration. So first one is a very simple scenario. So customers are running their standalone source database on-premise or on their local systems. They want to migrate to ScaleGrid. So we need to ensure that binary logging is enabled on the source, and then use the MySQL dump to take the initial snapshot, follow it up by live replication to move the data, to completely move the data from source to destination. So as I mentioned before, there is an option in MySQL dump utility called master data, which is going to give you the binary log coordinates as part of the dump that can be used to set up the live replication from source to the destination. So the second scenario, customers are running a replica set, master slave setup on their on-premise or local deployments. They want to migrate. So in this case, it is important to note down the position of the arrows here. So they have a source replica setup, but we are doing the baseline dump as well as the replication from the source of their deployment. So here again, we can use the master data option that comes with MySQL dump utility to dump the binary log coordinates that can be used to set up the live replication. So one variation of scenario 2 itself is basically again the direction or the position of the arrows is important here. So we can see here that customers have their source replica set up and they want to migrate, but they don't want us to run the dump utility on their source database. So in this case, we take the baseline dump from their replica server, which is R, and then do the migration, do the replication from the source server, which is S. So here, MySQL dump option we have to use is basically, there is a slave dump option, which provides us the binary log coordinates of the source of the dumped server. So in this case, your dumped server is the server R, that is the replica server, and the binary log coordinates that you are getting is that of the source of the dumped server, which is of the server S. So basically using these coordinates, you will be able to set up replication from the source server so that all the writes happening on the source server start getting replicated to your destination. So there is also another option in MySQL dump utility, which is include master host port option. So as part of the dump file, it is going to also give the information about the host name of the source and the port of the source that can be useful while setting up the replication. So the next scenario is about GTID compatibility between source and destination. So as most of you know, GTID is the global transaction identifier, which is a default setup these days in MySQL replication, in any MySQL replication setup. So one limitation MySQL has is that for replication to work, the GTID mode of the source and destination servers will have to be identical. For example, if GTID is not enabled on the source, but it is enabled on the replication, on the destination server, the replication cannot happen, replication will not work. So at ScaleGrid, all our deployments come with GTID enabled, but now we have a challenge that we have to migrate from servers where customers either don't have a GTID setup or they're unwilling to turn on the GTID. So in such cases, what we do is to momentarily disable GTID on the ScaleGrid setup so that we can set up the replication. So one good thing is GTID can be turned off online without any downtime on your MySQL server, but there are a few steps involved here. You cannot directly turn off GTID from on to off. There are some intermediate steps you have to go through. You have to set the GTID mode to first to on permissive, off permissive, and then finally to off. And also you need to turn off enforce GTID consistency so that it will allow your destination server to execute the binlog stream coming from the source, which does not have any GTID enabled. So once the live replication is complete, so roughly these steps can be executed in the reverse order so that your GTID can be turned on again. Okay, so scenario 4, migrating subset of the databases. So basically at ScaleGrid, since it is a managed hosting, we have some customizations done to the MySQL database. And we don't allow customers to migrate all their databases, including the system databases such as MySQL itself. We don't want our MySQL database to be overridden. In such cases, we have to support migrating only subset of databases and typically only the user databases. So again, MySQL dump has options that can be used to import only a single or subset of databases from the source. So again, one challenge here is that there could be multiple databases on your source and many of them active also. So the binary logs on your source, so we'll have data corresponding to the activities of other databases also. And if you try to replicate from such a binary log, again, the replication will fail because some of these other databases may not even exist on your destination server. So in order to overcome this problem, we will have to use replication field on the destination server so that replication happens only to the database that you are migrating, and any data in the binary logs related to other databases automatically get filtered out. So again, replication filters can be set up online using the command change replication filter. The specific filter that we are using is called replicate wild do table. So an example I have shown here, if you specify this filter, with test dot percentage. This will allow you to replicate all the changes happening to the test database, but ignore changes happening to other databases. So finally, the last scenario, which is live migration from RDS. So yes, so this is one of the common scenarios that we have at ScaleGrid, though it may be unusual outside, where customers that are currently hosted on RDS want to migrate to ScaleGrid. So as you may be aware, RDS, Relational Database Service, this is the AWS managed service for MySQL. And so for RDS users, they don't have all the permissions to execute the MySQL dump command with some of the options I discussed before, for example, master data, slave dump, and so on. Users don't get the permission to execute to specify these options. But luckily, RDS also has best practices on how to migrate data from RDS. So I have given the link here basically. And at high level, what they recommend is first you have to create a read replica for your MySQL deployment at RDS. And then you need to stop the replication from this read replica to the source of the RDS server. So, and then MySQL dump has to be executed on the read replica server. So since you have stopped the replication, you can use the common replication status command show slave status to get the coordinates of the binary log coordinates of the source of your RDS server, which is basically the relay master log file and executed master log position. So these are the exact binary log coordinates that you would get if you had used the slave dump option also. So once you have these position, binary log coordinates, you can use these to set up live replication from your destination to the source to the RDS source server. And so rest of the steps involved in live replication or the live migration should hold good. So yeah, so this is about some of the common scenarios that we have come across at ScaleGrid, where we have done the live migration for MySQL. So again, I'll take a pause here and open for questions.
Yes, Prasad, we have a couple of questions here from Jyoti and Mahendra. So the first question from Jyoti is a quite longer question. So it is basically not related to the migration, but it's related to file per table on MySQL instance. What is preferable for an ideal instance, file per table, on or off? What are the problems and consequences? Will it upgrade or degrade the performance?
Okay, so since this is not directly related to the topic I'm discussing today, I'm not really equipped to answer this question at this point.
Definitely, definitely. And there is a question from Mahendra, which is you mentioned that the baseline dump should be done from read replicas in RDS, but what if the RDS is single instance without any read replica?
Yes, Mahendra. So basically, this is one of the prerequisites if you have to migrate data out of RDS. The first thing is you will have to create a read replica for your RDS instance, using which you will have to um, run the MySQL dump command against the read replica, and also note down the binary log coordinates of your source server, which will allow you to set up the live replication. At least I am not aware of any other way in which you can do the live migration from RDS server without read replica.
Okay, Mahendra, does the answer from the speaker suffice to your question? Okay, okay. So no further questions right now, Prasad. You can continue with the remaining presentation.
Sure. So I want to follow up the presentation with a short demo of how we have automated the live migration process in the Scale Grid console. Please allow me a couple of minutes to launch the Scale Grid console. So are you able to see the new window?
Yes, Prasad.
Okay, so this is the Scale Grid console. Basically, this is the dashboard for one of my MySQL deployments. So as you can see on the left side, we have options for supporting different databases. And of course, this is the single pane of glass management for all the databases and the various different um, cloud platforms. So you get a single look and feel. This is the overview tab for one of my MySQL deployments, migration demo 3. So as I mentioned before, all different DBA and developer tools are available in the console as a one-click option. So you have your backup and restore options. You can do on-demand scaling. You can run the online DDL commands like add index or alter table and so on. So we have option to do the patching of the OS, underlying OS, without any downtime. So we have some simple interfaces using which you can create new users or new databases for your deployment. So we have an option to understand the query performance for the queries that are running on your MySQL deployment. You can actually profile the queries and see what are the long running queries or inefficient queries, and so on. So these are the various different tools available at one click from the Scale Grid console. So specifically, I wanted to show the option related to live migration, so which can be accessed from the import data option and called live sync. So let me launch live sync. So as I talked about in my presentation, basically you will need the flexibility to take the baseline dump either from the source of your customer deployment, or in case they have a replica setup, it can be from the replica also. So let me use one of my other servers to show how this works. So right now I'm going to use the same server for both the baseline dump as well as the replication. So you will have to specify the username for connecting to your source database. So as part of the second step, we list all the user databases that are running at your source database. So for example, I can select DB1 here and I'll move to next step. So you will have an option to import the users. If you have already imported the users, or if you have created the users manually, you can even skip this step. Otherwise, you can just check this box and import the users. So once you have imported the users, you are ready to start the live sync, and you can launch the live sync button here. And there you go. So basically all the steps I talked about, the step 1, which is the initial dump, the step 2 is replication, and step 3 is the final switchover, are automated and neatly laid out in this window. So right now you can see that the initial baseline import is happening from source to the destination, and it will move on to the subsequent steps. So since it is going to take some time for these steps to complete, let me quickly jump on to another server where it has almost completed the live sync. Okay, so in this specific server, you can see that step 1 and step 2 have been completed. It is the baseline dump is done and live replication is set up, and your destination server is almost in sync with the source. So I'm sorry, there is some formatting issue here. What you see here is replication lag in seconds. This is your destination server, and this is actually the seconds behind master, which is the replication lag, which is currently 0. So at this point, you are ready for the switchover, and as per the dialog, you have all the instructions to do the final switchover. You have to stop writes on your source server and kind of give some time, say 30 seconds, so that all the writes get propagated to your destination server as well. So this can be monitored in real time using the seconds behind master that is shown on the screen. And then once the replication lag comes back to 0, you can change the connection string of your applications to point to the scale grid deployment. So in this case, we are showing an example of the JDBC connection string. So it's important to note that you can be ready with your application by changing the connection string, but don't start your application. So let us complete the live sync, which is going to turn on your destination in the read-write mode. And once you complete, so you will see that the live sync is complete and you can start the application. So in this way, we have converted what is supposedly a very complex and time-consuming activity of MySQL live migration into a set of simple steps that you can execute and achieve live migration. So that completes my demo as well. So I'm ready for any final round of questions.
Thank you so much, Prasad. Let me open up the Q&A section and let's see if there is questions which is related to the migration here. So yeah, so please paste your questions on the Q&A section, not on the chat tab, so that it becomes easier for me and the speaker to view the question and answer appropriately. So yeah, Prasad, I think we don't have any further questions from the attendees. And thank you so much, Prasad, for assisting us in learning more about the intricacies of MySQL live migration through illustration. I believe the majority of the questions were answered in the Q&A section. More questions, if you have any, please write to us, and the email address will be provided at the end of the meeting. Thank you once again, Prasad.
Thanks a lot, Santana, for giving me this opportunity, and all the attendees for attending the session.